Good evening and welcome back to a lovely spring evening here in Jersey. It's an absolutely stunning evening, bit chilly, but I have got the shorts on, and me and Benny Boy have decided to come out, flick some metals, maybe a set of feathers, in search of some pollock and possibly some mackerel. Now, I've only caught a couple of mackerel this year, going back about a month, when I thought, oh, it's really going to come on, but the fishing's been a little bit slow on the mackerel front, and I think that depends on the bait fish turning up, but the bait fish have slowly started to turn up in these particular areas. So we're gonna sling ourselves down this cliff and then hopefully chuck out some lures, metals and things like that, and see if we can get into some fish. As I say, can't expect anything, probably blank. That's just how the cookie crumbles. Well, there's gannets out there, that's a good thing. Now, I've got a heavier rod today, which is a 20 to 60 gram rod, and on this I've just got a set of 5 feathers. Everyone knows what a packet of feathers is. 5 feathers, just a small weight underneath. And I just use this to cast out the feathers, kind of let them sink to the bottom, just to see if there's any mackerel around. Very simple, very easy, and that's what I'm going to start with, flinging these. Let's go fishing. Well, what a beautiful evening. I've had a few casts already, just whacking the feathers out, reel, retrieve. If you haven't done this before, it's very simple. It's about finding what depth the mackerel are at, having a heavy enough weight to get it down, but not too heavy to hurt your wrist if you're doing it for a while. Yup. We were just saying, we thought we would have felt something, and then literally cue the fish. Mackerel, lots of them. Yeah, whole set of them, I think. Oh my god. Oh, they're around that rock. This is what summer's all about. Whole set of them. Well, like I was just saying on the camera, it takes a little bit of time sometimes to locate fish, but as soon as you do, they come. I had a full house on there. We've got 2 lovely sized mackerel there, beautiful. Just checking inside their mouth to see if they're spewing up any sand eels, because at this time of the year, the mackerel are following around pin sand eel shoals, and they are searching, absolutely searching, in these big shoals of mackerel. They come out of nowhere and they just smash up all these bait fish. Now, using feathers is the easy way of doing it. Ben's fishing a metal or a slug at the moment, and he's just banging that out. Then it sinks to different depths of the sea, and just jigging it up and down, and that also catches them. But I'm super... Oh no, you're not going anywhere, mate. Super happy with that. You in? Oh no. Super happy with that. 2 mackerel, really nice size, really good fun. And everyone can do a bit of mackerel fishing. Put a set of feathers on, put a slug on. I'll show you the slug a little bit later. There you go. Now look away now if you're squeamish, because put the fish out of their misery, you know. Don't let them just shake around in a bag. Put them out of their misery straight away. Now, usually what you can do is you can put a little slit with a knife in the back of the head, but usually I just like to put my 2 fingers in behind the gills and just burn the head like that, and that kills them, cuts the bloodline. They'll drip out and they'll bleed, and that's the most humane way to do it. Again, if you're squeamish, look away now. sorted. Blood pissing out of him. 2 fish to the good. Let's see if we can get some more. Like I was saying before, I am just using a 20 to 60 gram HTO Lure Game, little small 3000 reel. If you've got a reel and a rod that's too heavy for your arms, that you're casting and winding constantly, your arms are just going to get tired and you're taking the kind of fun out of it. You've seen the big arch and bend on the rod there, they were fighting like mad. I had a few more on that set of feathers. Also, you don't want to have a lead weight or a spoon at the bottom that's too heavy for your rod. You want to get a lot of feel. Let's go again. Oh, seal! Seal right here. You see him? He just popped out of nowhere. Nah, the mackerel will stay around. He'll be alright. Hopefully I don't hook him. I'm just casting it and letting it just sink down to medium kind of depth. You know when it's hit the bottom because you'll feel the weight just spring up. Like I was just saying before, cast your feathers out with the weight. Everyone can do this. Let it sink a little bit. Wind in your slack so you can feel the weight of your lead, and then literally just retrieve, pull your rod, retrieve, pull your rod. You can straight wind it if you like, depending on if there are fish are around. But I like to just move my rod up and down, reel in the slack. So simple, so easy. And that's when you usually just pick them up. Watch out for the swell though. Yep, fish on. Mackerel. You can see the thumping on my rod tip of the mackerel. They're like out, I cast actually out that way towards the buoy that time, yeah, but they've gone that way. Lovely bend on the rod. Like I say, if you have a rod that's too heavy, it's just not fun at all. And usually this is the time when they kind of come off. Oh, it's just come off. Oh no, one's still on. And you can just see there, the mackerel has taken that small little feather in the top lip, like so. And as I was saying before, put it out of its misery. If you're squeamish, look away now. And that's it. And it's just going to bleed out. And there's another fish. It's just about finding the depth they're at. Ah, over there. Tide is absolutely racing through, as you can see, and we're kind of fishing this slack water just outside the run. You cast into that run, your lures are just going to get either taken up to the surface because they cannot handle the speed of the current, or you're just going to lose track of your feathers and your weight, and you're going to probably lose some gear. Well, that's the first way and probably the easiest way to catch mackerel. Light spinning rod, light reel, nothing too heavy, but heavy enough to whack out a 3 ounce or a 4 ounce lead with a load of feathers on it. That is probably the most simple and easiest way. It's fun, it's easy to pick up a lot of fish in a quick succession, but I like a funner way, and that's chucking a slug. Now a slug, I tend to use a 20 to 30 gram, sometimes 40 gram, really depending on the weight of your rod. You don't want to be smashing out a metal all day on a lure rod that doesn't have the capacity to cast a big slug. There's a chance that you're going to snap your rod tip. There's a chance that, you know, things are going to not work out, probably break, to be honest. So I recommend just chucking a slug out. And with a slug, you can also catch pollock, bass, really depending on what's in the area and what's feeding on the bait. This is the kind of lure that probably is my favorite for fishing for mackerel, pollock, things like that. Just a simple slug. Now this cost me no more than £2.50 in the shop. Obviously you can get some really expensive lures, but for this kind of fishing where sometimes you're going to lose gear, sometimes you're going to get hooked up and cut up on rocks and things like that, nothing more than that is absolutely perfect. It's got a shimmy which kind of reflects off the sunlight in the water. It's got a little bit of weight to it. It's got a treble on the bottom to give you maximum hookup. To be honest, if I was fishing for bass, maybe I'll change that for a little single, just so if the bass are too small, it doesn't wreck their mouth and chew them up and things like that. But I'm fishing for food, for mackerel, for pollock, and that is absolutely perfect. Now one thing I do recommend before you go and cast out a metal is not tying your clip straight to the metal itself, making sure that you have a little swivel clip on the front. Now the reason for this is metals tend to spin in the water like so, and if they're spinning, that means if you attach straight to it and not with a swivel like so, a barrel swivel, your braid is going to eventually turn. It's not going to be a straight braid. So if you are fishing a metal and a slug like so, always make sure that you've got a little barrel swivel in there which will take the brunt of the spin and not fully spin your braid. Little tip for you if you are fishing metals. With the metal, just going to cast it out, let a bit of line out, just going to let it naturally sink, but slowly just keep winding my reels just so I get a little arc on my rod and I can feel the metal. Now if you want to let it go all the way to the bottom, just leave it, slowly wind, and eventually you'll feel your rod tip spring where it's hit the bottom, but I'm not going to let it do that. I'm just going to cast and wind with a flip. So oh, fish. Just had a really nice knock there, mate. Probably a pollock. If you can't get the feel of your metal when you're pulling it up like so, it's too light. Either the current's too strong, the wind is too much, or your metal's just not heavy enough. The key to this for me is being able to feel your lure, feel your metal. So when you're jigging it, you can feel everything. The bite, the lure, any kind of indication that you're gonna get. So a little tip there from my personal fishing story, that's what helps me a lot. Well, as you can see, the sun is setting in the background. It's an absolutely picturesque and beautiful evening. The wind's actually kind of dropped off, but it's getting dark and it's time to head home. I've caught some mackerel and that's what I came for. I had a few pollock hits at the end, but nothing really came from it. But it just goes to show, when you are out and you just want to feed, a set of feathers is all you need really to, you know, load up on the mackerel. But if you want some fun, a little slug, remember, make sure that the rod is fitting to the weight of the slug that you're casting. You don't want it too heavy, but you don't want it too light. really depending on the area that you're fishing. It's absolutely hooning it through here, as you can see. And if I was casting into that with a small little slug, you wouldn't feel much. To be honest, you'll probably lose it on the rough ground in and around this area. But this area is probably not the same as where you're going to fish. But if you are, I like to just fish in this little area here, outside of the run, where you can have a little play, flick your metal out or flick your feathers out and have a little play, get a really good feel of the lure or the feathers. And that's how I caught mine today. Nice and easy, smelly mackerel hands, but it's nice to be back on some mackerel, a nice little feed for the family. You cannot go wrong, especially when it's like this and it's absolutely stunning. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've learned something. This is what this channel is all about. It's not just about me catching fish, it's about you guys going out there, enjoying yourself, learning something, maybe adding something to your game that's a little bit different to what you're doing, because I'm always here to learn and I'm always here to pick up things off other YouTube channels and other fishermen, because you're never too old to learn. You might be very good at something, but there's always something that might change how you do something, and that doesn't have to be fishing, that could be absolutely anything. But as I say, beautiful finish, what a stunning evening, a few mackerel in the bag, cannot go wrong. Till next time, enjoy your fishing, fish hard.